G'day from beautiful Budapest, the day after the Hungarian Grand Prix. What is Lando Norris doing here? Is he graffitiing a wall? What is he writing and why is he doing so? I've got the answers for you in this video. First up, let me tell you a little bit about the behind the scenes that I saw at the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. First up, this city is abuzz when Formula One comes to town. I stayed at the Kempinski Hotel. Next door was the Ritz-Carlton. Every night there'd be 200 to 500 people outside, absolutely going crazy when a driver arrived at the hotel. I've not seen this sort of thing in too many countries around the world. So Budapest, well done for that. But not so well done on the cigarettes. Like a lot of European cities, it's atrocious. That aside, let's get back to the track on Thursday. And fashion-wise, what were the drivers wearing? Zhou Guanyu, decked out top to toe in Prada, looking pretty swish. Lewis Hamilton, of course, came in a different outfit every single day. Charles Leclerc was looking pretty smooth in some Namius knitted shorts and a t-shirt, while George Russell and Carlos Sainz just in casual clothes, no logos visible. Shoe-wise, I actually got a little bit bored on one of the days and thought, I'm going to photograph a whole host of F1 sneakers. So I did this, and this is what I found over the space of about 2 hours. I'm quite interested in McLaren as a team because they often have different sponsors, major sponsors, on their cars, depending on where they are. This race, we had this company, but throughout the season they've had a number of different sponsors on that car, and it's a little bit out of the ordinary. Certainly not too many other teams do that. I had a lot of requests over the weekend about where a driver's staying. Well, typically we don't know in advance, but I can now tell you that the Alpine drivers stayed here at the Kempinski. We had AlphaTauri next door at the Ritz-Carlton. McLaren drivers were over at Aria, plus a number of other hotels around the city, but typically nobody gets advance notice. But one thing we do know for sure is that Canity.com is the world's best online staff training platform. Hundreds of short, sharp videos designed to have you or your team excelling when it comes to service. Canity.com. Check it out now, you won't be disappointed. Back to the Hungaroring now, and there is a tunnel that almost all of the drivers, and I'm going to say 17 of the 20, use to get from the car park to the paddock. And on the side walls are the names of the past winners of the Hungarian Grand Prix, except Esteban Ocon's name wasn't up there. So on the Thursday, he wrote his name and then signed it. Lando Norris was obviously aware of this because on the Friday, he came in, and this is where we were sitting at one end of the tunnel waiting for the drivers to come through. Lando walks up, produces a marker pen, and then spends about 10 seconds writing something. So as he walked past, I said, "What was that you wrote?" And he said, "It was my prediction for the weekend." So I went back and had a look, and he'd just written his name. Now that was a very popular post on the weekend. I think it was probably my biggest post. But a couple of the comments were a little, what's the word? Questionable. It's an arrogant thing for him to do. Well, I got to disagree with you. I can't see arrogance in any form in that. That's a bit of fun. And I fear that some people don't know a joke when they see one. Had Lando have won that race, I would have been very keen to see if somebody actually cut that piece out and took it home with them. Or indeed Esteban Ocon's work. A bit like, I guess, a Banksy. Also on the Thursday, Fernando Alonso signed 50 of my F1 prints, which had already been pre-sold. Now some of you will have bought one of those images. I can tell you, very shortly they'll be winging their way to you from Australia, and I think you'll be pretty darn happy with them. And if you're interested in a future signed print collaboration, get on to my kimellman.com page. There's a link below you can click on and register so you get advance warning. I normally only send a blast email out and they're gone within a few hours. And everyone is individually numbered. It was a busy paddock at the Hungaroring, and certainly a lot of the drivers had their girlfriends there. We had Alex with Lily, we had Charles Leclerc with Charlotte Sine, Carlos Sainz with Issa Hernández, and Lando Norris's girlfriend Louisa. Nicholas Latifi with Sandra Zivacek. Fernando was with Andrea Schleger, and on one morning they actually came in together with Fernando's niece. He gave her his cap on one of the mornings. And was Mick Schumacher's girlfriend there? I don't think so, although a lot of you have said, why don't we get many pictures of Mick? Well, that's because he's one of the 3 drivers that comes in at the far end. So we can either sit there for 3 drivers or sit up the other end for 17, and just law of averages says you go for the 17. But I did catch a couple of pics of him over the weekend, including one of him coming out of the FIA garage. What about qualifying? That was pretty exciting. It was run under dark, cloudy skies, which was nice for photographs, and I didn't venture too far from the media centre, then caught a few of the drivers coming out after Q2 that didn't make it into 3, and then it was out to Parc Fermé to shoot the top 3, and boy, wasn't it a great buzz for George Russell. He was beaming, his first pole position, and the way it works with us photographers is we have to queue up. And then at one point a gate opens and we rush out and we grab a vantage point around the area that's cordoned off. I was lucky because I ended up being probably 50 centimetres from Charles as he was talking to his trainer, allowing for some very close-up shots. And later on, after his media commitments, there were hugs all round for George. And then later on, I went and photographed some stuff for F1 experiences out on the track. And lucky for those people rolling up for their photos, George was actually on track doing a photo shoot on bicycles. And as always, George is very appreciative of the support he gets from everyone, and I got to tell you, he was flavour of the afternoon after his quali pole position result. Come race day, I headed to the track a little bit later than normal and found myself directly behind Carlos Sainz as he entered the track. And have a look at these scenes of pure mayhem with excited fans rushing the car and Carlos being more than happy to sign a few autographs. Jumping to something different now, as you know, the staff of a team need to be fed, and all of the teams have their own catering, but I actually spent a little bit of time with the Michelin 2-star chef Karl-Heinz Hauser, who runs the McLaren kitchen. Have no doubt that the teams and their guests eat very well at the track. And did you realise that the chef actually goes to the markets and picks up all of the fresh produce he needs on a day-by-day basis? For the last few years, I've always had access to the grid, and I have to tell you that it is a full-on fountain of photographic opportunities, like drinking from a fire hose. And I always like to shoot the drivers coming back from their garages after they've parked their cars on the grid, because often they're on their own and some are in a hurry, like Seb, almost always running. On Sunday, he actually was hunting for a gap in the fence to jump through rather than go through the gate, and I managed to point him in the right direction and got a thumbs up, and he wasn't the only one to return to the grid via that gap. Drivers' Parade, another great opportunity to get up close to the drivers as they head around the track, and this one was a bit different because there were 10 cars and each car had 2 drivers from a specific team. But this car here, transporting the Red Bull drivers, I'm reliably told is an ex-Arnold Schwarzenegger car. He either sold or gave it to a friend who now lives in Hungary, and that car was one of the 10 used for the Drivers' Parade. And a lot of you may know that the cars can't come down pit straight when they're doing their formation warm-up laps. They go through the pit lane. That gives me an opportunity to take some photos that I would never get otherwise, because it's rare that we're allowed to stand on the pit wall. I only get maybe 1 or 2 chances per year, but every race I can shoot low here and get these really interesting looking shots of the cars coming into pit lane and then exiting it at the other end. I'll admit, one of the toughest picks to get in the paddock is a photo of Lance Stroll smiling. He's normally pretty chilled in the paddock, but as he came back for the national anthem, he and his trainer Henry Howe were having a good old conversation here, and it was great to get these rare pics of Lance. Valtteri Bottas had an American flag rug, blanket, whatever you call it. Yes, it was cold on the day, but Valtteri's from Finland. I wouldn't have thought that would have caused him too much drama, but the driver of his car actually offered it to him and he said yes. Those cars sit on the grid for a good number of minutes. It gives us an opportunity to get to a number of different drivers, and I did notice Pierre Gasly took the opportunity to reverse Yuki's cap, which he decided he didn't want and then turned it back that way. And I noticed Lando Norris always wears his cap back to front. And have you noticed that Max Verstappen this year has stopped wearing the flat-peaked cap and gone to a, what's that one called? A curved peak cap, of course. It's now the summer break for the teams, or winter break for me because I'm going back to Perth. But I did hang around late on Sunday night to catch drivers leaving, a lot of them in their casual clothes, everybody quite relaxed. Seb once again running, Pierre Gasly looking chill, Valtteri Bottas giving us the thumbs up here, Lance Stroll juggling a water bottle, along with team principals and other folk just excited about getting away from the sport for a few weeks. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and become a member. And coming up shortly, I can tell you that I'll be giving away a pair of these Ray-Ban glasses. These are hard to find. They're worth around €450, so please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and also keep an eye on my Instagram, where you'll find all of my pictures at Kim Illman. For my digital images, every one I've kept over the last 5 years, head to prostarpics.com. And for a wide range of my merchandise, F1 photo books and large-scale wall art, you can head to kimellman.com right now. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. So Budapest, well done for that. But not so well done on the cigarettes. Oh, fuck.